Hey guys, I'm learning TFT. In this video, I'm going to go through a VOD review coaching session with Marcel P, where we go over a contested ambushers game. I'm gonna do this video a little bit differently than previous coaching videos where I just threw you straight into the coaching session. I'm gonna provide a little more context on the learnings from the VOD so that it can give you a little teaser as far as the key concepts that I was able to take away from the game. And I'm including some screenshots to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. I'll first actually in the video go over an idea of the game, idea of the day, then be able to go into the VOD learnings and then jump into the video. So you can use the timestamp in the description below to jump to the section that you want to. I'll first give you the teaser. So this board here, so this big idea is know your game plan when contested. So let's say you're playing ambushers, which I've covered in my last two videos, and you're contested. In this game, it was that two players picked Ambusher Crown. There was another player who had an artifact. I believe it was it was Spectral Cutlass, which could be played down the Camille line as well. So there were a number of melee players contesting Smeech, which is the default line with ambushers. You typically want to re-roll for Smeech. And so here we can see that we found an Echo on 4-1, which was a high roll. And we have the Ambusher emblem. We're one off Smeech for 5 Ambusher. And so the question here is, are you rolling at level 7 on a 3 streak to try to preserve streak? If you're able to hit a Smeech or even a Smeech 2, you can be really strong. Or are you going to wait till 4-2 to go to level 8 for better Echo forecast odds? Or are you going to level right now to level 8 and roll to have better Echo odds and also preserve streak? So this is a key question that we explore in this VOD review. That's one idea. We talk about playing from ahead, what backup units you can look towards on your roll down to help you preserve HP in stage 4, and sometimes be able to go fast 9 off of an unorthodox board. This is a situation where it can be really easy to just pull up TFT Academy, Meta TFT, tactics tools, pull up a comp list, put them into Team Planner, and only click on those units. But the top players are always thinking about what other units can hold items and help you preserve HP. We'll talk about what is a good enough anomaly value, since if you are rolling more than 10 or 15 gold for an anomaly, that's like the value of a silver augment. So if you can find a good enough anomaly, and part of that is knowing which anomalies are good generically, independent from your comp, that can help you save a lot of gold in stage 4. And then lastly, critically thinking about your board at every point, not just accepting the cookie cutter board, thinking about what each unit is doing and what's the weakest unit on your board. So here, you can see that I was able to find a Firelight emblem, which is great on Smeech. And if you look at the stats, 4 Firelight is significantly better than 3 Firelight. So I know I want to get this Zeri into the board. So the question is, what's the weakest unit to take out? And I'll give you a hint in that we want to not just look at the comp list, we want to actively and critically think about what role every unit is playing on this board to then decide who to put Zeri in for. And so these are some high-level concepts that we're going to go over in the VOD. Again, you can jump to the VOD if you like. Right now, I'm going to go over the idea of the day, which I'll use Irvin Yalom, a psychotherapist, as a kickoff point. He said, 4 ultimate concerns, to my view, are highly salient to psychotherapy: death, isolation, meaning in life, and freedom. And I was thinking about this stuff because my family and I just got back from vacation. We went to Taiwan and Hong Kong as a kind of a go back to your roots trip. It's the first time that we brought our kids back to. My parents are from Taiwan, and my wife's family's from Hong Kong. Both my wife and I are born in America, and so it's the first time that our kids got this exposure to go back to Asia, or not Asia. We've been to Japan, but like specifically Taiwan, and visiting where my dad grew up, uh, and my mom, and more specifically, we visited a family shrine where it's kind of like the family shrine in Mulan. Let me see if I can actually pull up an image of that. Um, where my ancestors are buried, kind of like this family temple or like this image. Um, like this scene here where Mulan prays to her ancestors. So we visited the family shrine, and I actually found out that there were over 100 of my ancestors' remains cremated and buried there, which was pretty eye opening to me. And I also found out that we visited a temple in a city that apparently my family, there was an original ancestor um, that moved to Taiwan from China about 300 years ago. And that was the original ancestor that started off my family line in Taiwan. And at some point, I think that ancestor, or maybe one, like some descendant, they were the like leaders of a city in Taiwan, and they had a temple that was literally just my family. My last name is Peng. In Chinese, it's Peng. There was a Peng family temple that literally is only dedicated to Peng family members, and they were like something like 50 plus stone tablets of like descendants saying that this person is like the 23rd descendant of that original Peng founder, with like the lineage into it. But all of that is to say that it really brought a sense of connection with my family past, and specifically with this idea of isolation. Um, that in Asian culture, especially, there's a heavy emphasis on community and service to your family, to your elders. Whereas in America, there is a heavy emphasis on individualism, on standing out from the crowd. And this is relevant in a TFT context too, because the whole idea of ranked play, of going for first, of playing in a tournament and being a winner, uh, is can be an isolating feeling. And what's also fascinating to me about TFT is that there is this counterbalance in comparison to other games where the community is can be a counterbalance to that sense of isolation. And for me, this trip really helped me connect with a sense of like I am not just alone on this planet. I've always kind of viewed my grandparents as like a shield of death for me. And since I was a child, one of the biggest uh, foundational memories of my childhood was when my grandpa passed when I was 10. That was actually what I wrote my college essay on. And his passing struck me really hard and triggered a sense of questioning around what it is that I'm doing here, why I'm here, what is the role and meaning of, and purpose of my existence. And death has always been one of my greatest fears. And this trip helped me connect to a bigger picture and context of my role here, and that like the fear and anxiety that I've always felt, which has lessened over time as I've gotten older and worked on a lot of this stuff internally, gone to therapy, done coaching, um, and that context of being like, hey, I understand that there are 8 billion plus people on this planet, but I don't resonate and connect with them as much as like with my family and my direct ancestors. And so this experience was very visceral, emotional experience that helped me connect with my past. And it helped me realize I'm less of an isolated part and more of a, like, almost like a chain in a massive living almost like thing, where I'm passing on the baton from my grandparents to my parents to me to my kids to future generations. And I also see a clearer picture of how, when we get to meaning, um, so I feel less isolated, which also reduces the fear of death and gives me a clear picture on like what I derive meaning from in my life to combat this sense of isolation and the fear of death. Um, as a child, I grew up in a pretty authoritarian household where uh, my role as a child was to serve my elders, to be obedient, to listen, and that kind of Asian cultural mindset really conflicted with the American ideals of individualism, of standing out. And so it was always hard for me to reconcile these ideas and concepts as a child. And now it's getting more clear to me, especially as I've become a parent. I've done more coaching. I've coached startup. I coach startup founders. I've coached and coach like sport, like kids, my kids' sports teams. Um, and I've experimented a lot with like TikTok and YouTube, just like bringing these types of ideas to share with the world, especially for younger generations, because I feel that as I have shared more of these ideas and my own internal challenges and struggles, I've found that other people have resonated with these ideas a lot. And the more I can talk about this stuff and bring it into the light and help other people feel less alone, it actually helps me feel less alone, helps me feel a greater purpose and meaning in my life. And that ultimately drives why I'm creating these videos. So that's kind of the context of why I want to share all of this with you. But also, I think that these ideas can be useful for you in figuring out what it is that you're doing with your life, what your purpose is, how you derive meaning from your life, and also how TFT fits into all of these ideas. Because I believe that playing games, and especially competitive games, it strikes the balance between all of these things. And TFT specifically has a unique role in how isolation fits in and how you derive meaning, and then also how you use TFT as a metaphor and training ground to develop your skills of why you do what you do, how you do what you do, and apply these ideas to your broader life. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about some ideas related to death. There's an Italian proverb that says, once the game is over, the king and the pawn go back in the same box. I've always really enjoyed this idea because in my 20s, it was always important to me to really stand out. As a way to combat death, there's this immortality project that Ernest Becker talks about, where if you can become rank 1 in TFT, if you can win a championship, if you can do X, Y, or Z, and get all of the fame and the applause, then that will make my life meaningful and purposeful, and I can subvert death. And yet, this Italian proverb wisely points out that even if you are a king, even if you are the greatest of all time, if you're Steve Jobs, if you're Kobe Bryant, you at the end of the day, when you approach your deathbed, you go back to the same place that everyone else came from. And I think about this from the sense of visiting my family shrine, that all of those ancestors had to face the same challenges, the same struggles that I had to face. I've had to face around what is it that we're doing here? How do we handle suffering? How do we live a meaningful life? How do we derive joy and purpose? And so when you think about this in the context of your own TFT gameplay, whether you win or lose a game in the short term, whether you hit a certain rank or not, whether you're a challenger player, whether you're a bronze player, at the end of the day, we go back to the same place. What matters is how you lived your life and whether you found joy in it, the purpose that you found in it. the love and the relationships that you built in this lifetime, those matter much more than whether or not you are a king or a pawn. Steve Jobs, in his Stanford commencement speech, one of my favorite speeches of all time, said, "Almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important." Continued to say, "Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart." Ronnie Ware, a nurse who worked with terminal patients who were dying, found that these were the top regrets of the people that were coming upon the end of their lives and were contemplating looking back on what they wish they had done better. Number one, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wished I'd had the courage to express my feelings. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. And finally, I wish that I had let myself be happier. This last one really resonates with me in what we were talking about in 2 videos, I believe, ago, where I talked about finite versus infinite games, where when we are playing TFT and we get really obsessed with winning, we go through a loss streak, and we get really critical of ourselves and we start losing focus on the big picture of why we're playing TFT in the first place, which at the end of the day is a game that we're playing for fun, for our enjoyment. And when we lose track of that, and a lot of times this connects with, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I lived a life that others expected of me. I worked too hard. I didn't share my feelings. I didn't connect with my friends, and I didn't let myself be happy. That's what a lot of people at their end feel the life that was the life that they lived. And when we are able to shift our mindset away from those focuses, remembering that you're going to die, to use death as a springboard, not as this evil enemy, but not as a curse, but hopefully as a blessing, that it is through death that, and the awareness of our future impending doom, but rather shifting that mindset to say, it is death that will allow me to have the courage to live a life true to myself. It is by putting this in context that I have nothing to lose that will allow me to follow my heart, that will allow me to follow what will bring me joy, that will allow me to prioritize my friends over status and making money and hitting a certain rank and feeling like I'm no good because I'm unable to hit that. John Medina, a psychologist, I believe, said, "As you age and realize your own mortality, you tend to prioritize relationships above anything else. Prioritizing these relationships makes you happier." And so this is also partly driving what I find most interesting about playing TFT, and what motivates me to create more of these videos is this community has been so supportive and so fascinating to me. It's a very unique set of people that have aggregated around this game. And because this game is so different than other games out there, it really requires you to constantly challenge yourself, constantly evolve your sense of identity, of what you know, your psychology, your how you think, and that's why I love it. And I think it brings such a unique blend of people together, and that's also why I found it so fascinating that many of you have connected so much with these ideas that I'm sharing in the beginning of these videos, and that part of what helps me create meaning and a lesser sense of isolation is connecting with community, is giving back and sharing these ideas. And particularly in kind of going back to the family shrine impact on me, is recognizing that my role here is not just I'm one and done, and upon my death, like I'm just a single isolated part, but rather viewing it as more of a kind of like Lion King circle of life. I'm I'm passing on a baton. I'm part of this chain that has come before me and will continue after me. And that there's a sense of wholeness and connection and community that derives from relationships. And that's why I want to focus on this kind of stuff more. On the topic of isolation, Eric Fromm, the philosopher, said, "The deepest need of man is the need to overcome his separateness, to leave the prison of his aloneness." And when you're playing the game solely alone, which a lot of times I did in the past, which especially when I was a kid playing real-time strategy games, uh, there was no Twitch. Like I didn't really know friends that played RTS games when I was like 8, when I first started playing, and so it could be very isolating. And I think what's so fascinating about TFT is there's this huge community that you can talk to and connect to, whether that's on Reddit, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter. It's just you can have a sense of connection with all these players. And Robert Wright, in his book Non-Zero, said, "To compete for high status positions is to play a zero-sum game, since they are by definition a scarce resource. That is, for one person to win, it means another person has to lose." He continues by saying, "Yet one way to compete successfully is to invent technologies that create new non-zero-sum games." He continues to say, "We are deeply gregarious and deeply cooperative, yet deeply competitive. We instinctively play both non-zero-sum and zero-sum games." So the way this connects with TFT is, and I've talked about this about an idea brought up by Robert Axelrod in his book The Evolution of Cooperation, which is one of my top 3 to 5 favorite books of all time, that TFT is a competitive game, yes, but at the same time it is actually quite a cooperative game, because the breadth of play of any single individual is limited, which is part of the value of stats, but also part of the value of doing coaching, like what I'm gonna share with you today. Part of the value of watching YouTube videos, of watching Twitch, is that this game can be extremely cooperative, and that you are actually benefiting yourself far more by being cooperative in the community than isolating yourself and being competitive. That at the end of the day, you can learn more by sharing your points of view and thoughts and ideas with others, because then others are more likely to do the same with you. And in a game where the breadth of knowledge is so wide, hoarding your own learnings and not sharing it, and also not learning from others, you are actually going to have a lower LP at the end of the day than you will by opening up, being transparent, sharing your thoughts and feelings and ideas, and allowing other people to do the same, because the more you share with others, the more likely they are to share with you. And that is just as true as a metaphor for life, about how to combat this sense of isolation, how to create more meaning in your life. So the more you are able to open up, whether that's with your friends, your family, with random people on the internet, with other TFT players, the more I suspect that you, and I certainly have felt this way, that I have found meaning and purpose and a lessened sense of isolation. And finally, on meaning, Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." And this was covered in, why am I blanking on the concentration camps, the German concentration camps, where, who was the psychologist that wrote a very famous book? But he also said that the prisoners who were able to survive the concentration camps had a very clear why to live. The ones that didn't have a clear purpose or meaning, they were the ones that succumbed to death first. Dostoevsky said, "The mystery of human existence lies not in just staying alive, but in finding something to live for." And Howard Thurman said, "Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive. Go do that." because what the world needs is people who have come alive. And so I bring up these ideas on meaning to say, whether it's for TFT or whether it's for some other dream you have in your life, maybe you are going through a challenging stretch of your life where you're not sure what you're doing or why you're doing it. You're maybe lacking some energy or motivation. You're going through a downswing. If you can reconnect with a sense of meaning of what you're doing here, what's your larger purpose, your true underlying why, and you can really reconnect with that. And I suspect that part of this has to do with some of this stuff, right? Having the courage to live a life true to yourself, working less hard, expressing your feelings, connecting with friends and community, letting yourself be happier. But finding kind of the how of how to do those things, the more you're able to connect with that sense of meaning, the less you'll feel isolated, the less the death anxiety will arise, and the more that you can inhabit a sense of freedom in your life. And more specifically and tactically with TFT, if you have a goal for TFT, if you're feeling frustrated, you want to improve, the more you can connect to why you're playing TFT and having an underlying meaning, the more you can bear the how, whether that's stepping into more discomfort around playing lines that you haven't experimented with more, clicking augments that you haven't tried in the past, taking more time to study outside of the game, watching more VODs, stuff that maybe you haven't tried before, you thought maybe I should try that. The more you can connect to this sense of why and the meaning, the easier it will allow you to make shifts and changes in your life that you so far maybe have struggled with. All right, so with that said, I will include timestamps to these core ideas that I learned in this game in the description. So I'm gonna jump to the VOD in a sec, but if you want to jump to the detailed analysis of these specific ideas, I'll include them in the timestamps below. So I'm going to say bye to you now because I'm going to just jump straight to the video. But I would love to hear your thoughts on the idea of the day, these concepts. Also, if you have additional thoughts on the learnings from the VOD, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment and description below. So I appreciate you watching this video ahead of time, and I'll see you in the next one. Here, I'm going to jump straight to the VOD. Peace. Yeah, this one's Warwick's Hunger, and
what was it? The Academy.
Oh, back. Shojin.
Gargoyle, Guardbreaker. Not bad, not amazing. Gargoyle being like so mid. Okay.
This hold okay? I want to hold the Darius.
Yeah, I definitely want to hold the Violet pair still, but like I forget what you end up doing here. But yeah, I think you definitely hold the Camille. I feel like Camille is the most important unit here, given your Hodge drop. Not that Camille is good, it's just to go into the ambusher line.
Right. The drop. Just don't hold Lux and hold Violet pair, or
I would, let's see. Your Steb pair, yeah. Your Steb pair. You probably
drop Aurelia and
probably drop Aurelia, hold Violet, drop could drop Vex as well and hold
Violet and Darius or Lux?
I don't know how consequential these holds are, but yeah, I think ultimately it's probably Darius because Darius can hold the Hodge. You play around Hodge.
Or BT, you mean? I have a cloak.
I think you drop Hodge, right? Like when you pick up your component.
Oh, okay.
You drop a Hodge.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So
I should. Violet pair is actually like.
Yeah, that's big.
I'm surprised you didn't hold the pair here, but I guess you didn't know that you had Hodge. But with a cloak, you already can kind of like your BT. Like there's some chance you care about this Violet. Like it could also just be your front line, right? Violet too, like with no trait for like a few rounds, assuming you're like basically giving up on some odd chance that you 2 or 3 streak your 2-1 through 2-3 with a 2-star frontliner.
Okay, I haven't really been playing around Violet at all lately, so I should just be holding it for 2-star.
Yeah, it's just 2-star frontliner. I think you made the same mistake in a couple videos ago we did where you didn't hold an Amumu pair.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like it doesn't make sense to me that you're valuing Irelia and Lux over when you have a cloak. At the point that you click them, it's cloak and glove, right? It just in my mind, it means you're significantly overvaluing like your perception of unit quality over 2 stars.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about unit quality. I'm thinking about like, I mean, I guess unit quality. It's like thinking about what lines the
Gotcha.
units can lead down, and Violet it lately doesn't lead down any lines. But I guess given that Ambushers is much more viable now, I should use perceiving Violet as leading down towards that melee like Urgot or Ambusher reroll.
Yep, and or just a 2-star frontliner, right? In any other board, you could still play the Lux backline eventually, but you like 2-star Violet is going to be better than some random 1-star
Mhm.
unit,
Okay.
even with the trait. Usually. Oh, why are we committing these units? I feel like the best board here is. Oh, okay. You knew you were going to drop stuff.
I was thinking the Hodge was gonna go on Camille as the best holder, so then.
Oh wait, it's Nocturne easily, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Nocturne. You have a Mumu too.
yeah. Okay. Yep,
Yeah.
that's a mistake. Tunneling too hard on. I think. Okay, so I think there's like these calculations that are going on in my head that like Nocturne's not playable without artifact, which I don't even know that I'm not going to get an artifact right now. And and for the same reason I didn't pick up the Violet pair, I keep on, I guess, eliminating prematurely and not considering them as viable item holders.
I've seen Dish Soap, I think 90 streak, 100 streak with Violet 2 Family, Radiant GA into Enforcer. Won the game in a lobby I played. Violet 2, just like Vander, Powder, got 3 items by stage 3. Radiant GA just won the entire early game. And then
Violet 2,
Violet 2 into Vi.
when did
Put all the
he
items in Vi
pivot?
and play Enforcer. What's up?
At what stage did he pivot off? Or at what stage did he lose with that?
If I'm not mistaken, he 100 streaked until stage 4, and then he rolled, and then he probably faced some high roller in stage 4, lost 1 round when he was still Vi 1. But he basically just played the Violet line into 6 Enforcer with Vi. I don't know if he got an Enforcer +1. I don't think he did. I can pull up the game if you really want me to. It's a really fun lobby that I played. But yeah, I just the point I'm making is that good players leverage strongest boards to play good lines from ahead. Most lines you want to play from ahead. Like, yeah, there exist some lines that you can play from behind, but if you have the choice, you always want to play from ahead. The main reason being there's some chance in a good lobby that there will be some blatantly insane high roller that wins out regardless. And when that exists, you never want to be from behind. You always want to be from ahead. That way you take second, you take third, right? Whereas you can end up in the strongest board besides some high roller, but if you play even towards the theoretical optimal line from behind, you get rolled by the high roller and you go 8th or 7th.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So then here I should be selling the Lux and Aurelia, pick up the Nocturne. Well, ideally it'd be wait for Orb, see if I can sell anything worse, but
yeah, I think Aurelia is clearly like not valued. You already have 2-star Step, you have 2-star Mumu. So yeah, I like that you at least did this. I quite like Pandora's here. Your board is not weak, and you can. I feel like Pandora's on a melee unit is so insane. Like a radiant item plus Hodge.
you're willing to settle on like either BT, Starax, Titans, Edge of Night,
I don't think that's settling. I feel like those are good.
or like those are the ones you would go for.
Yeah, I think so. I would roll middle for sure. I feel like you don't have enough gold to justify this. And then I'd probably roll left. Pandora's 2-1 is quite. Oh, I mean, this is obvious now. You have to take right. Even if you're contested, I would take right. Doesn't even matter.
There's artifact players. That guy has
It doesn't even matter. I'd always think right because like you can play amateur is so broken right now. You play it into pumping up's also really good, but yeah. I mean, if players are good, they shouldn't even care that you type that. But at the same time, like yeah, you just play this.
There's this guy also got ambusher.
I mean, this is fine. You just play towards
Echo.
Smeech Echo, yeah, stuff like that. Probably just Echo. As long as you're playing from ahead, I don't think this spot can be that bad.
This is also Warwick's counter.
Yeah,
so
yeah, it's Warwick. So you could level for a backliner probably.
but you'd level for like Lux.
Trying to think what the best unit would be here. It's Maddie's actually contributing. I would think Lux is better than this Amumu, but it's hard to say. Now it's oh, you can't level for this guy, huh? Actually, is it Kog'Maw over? I'm pretty sure it's Kog'Maw over something. Like Kog'Maw gives you something your board doesn't have, right? Which is back
Pugma over
something.
Amumu.
I think so.
Because I also want to try and make 10. And I'm like pretty strong because I leveled to 5.
Now it's hard to hold because you didn't play it. But I feel like I would have. Man, Kog'Maw is such a clear good next in.
Good next in, right? But because I have the Mumu. But if you have to sell the Mumu to get the.
Yeah, no. You can't. Yeah. I'm just thinking maybe you break Econ to hold it, but probably not.
Yeah. And then here, I'm like still getting familiar with this line. If it was a pan, I would have been like, oh, ambush, another ambusher. I forgot that Firelight's an option, which is actually in the stats better than ambusher.
Yeah, Firelight is really good.
But someone else took it anyway. I've opened Cloak, so I just want BT or Even Shroud.
Yeah, I like either of those.
Okay. So just another Cloaker tier. Right tier.
Isn't it actually? If it's Warwick, isn't it Spark?
Spark. Oh, for Echo.
Echo and Camille. If you ever play on Camille in your card,
Oh,
also
right.
It's damage, right? It's also damage.
Yeah, I keep on forgetting Camille's duel.
It does a lot for your board, whereas the other two items don't do anything. Like
Okay.
I wouldn't think you have to slam it. I also don't think it's wrong to not grab Spark, but it just depends on how strong you think you are versus the lobby. If you think you need to make an item, then Spark is definitely necessary. But
And the other thing is, if I knew this guy wanted the Hodge, it's worth denying, right? Because he's the only other 100 trigger.
Yeah. I think that could make sense.
That's giving me too much credit, though, because I didn't know that. I just saw him going for it, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to take this from you.
I mean, tier's not bad here. Tier can be actually, is it not bad? I mean,
just another Hodge, right?
Yeah, if it's only Hodge, then it's actually not good. I mean, it could be Shojin Jinx if you know you're getting the Jinx. Level 6. Oh, he's going long. You're still just a Mumu 2. Was there anything better here? I mean, this Trundle is such a monster. Yeah, 4 Bruiser would be pretty good, but it's hard to get to. Isn't this? I'm pretty sure this guy's better than Amumu.
Do we level here? Probably not, right?
I don't think so. Because what would you be playing?
Right, just the Rennie.
It's definitely Rennie over Amumu, I think, right? I think it is. I think a 3 cost versus 1 cost is already pretty close usually. Three cost 1 star versus 2 star 1 cost.
Mm-hmm.
But here it would be a traded 3 cost versus an untraded.
Right.
And also Rennie that has CC.
Yeah, and it can make 30 then by selling the Mumu. Oh, I level.
I mean, I don't think it's that bad because it's Warwick's, like you'll make some gold here. Hopefully, did you lose? Oh, that was kind of close.
That could have been fight diff. Did the Rennie
Yeah.
CC someone? I don't know.
Um, you could also play around Vi this game, like just Enforcer Vi with Ambusher, but like it just depends what you hit because you're quite contested.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's just whatever you find. Hodge, GA maybe, or BT, one of those. Powder is really good here. Powder over Maddie, right?
Yeah, I didn't see that. I think it ends up costing me.
Oh, also you probably want this Trundle not hidden like this, right? You probably want this guy taking damage.
Oh, because he heals so much. Yeah.
So much. He built in heals, and he yeah, you just have a dead Maddie here. Which would be the you also get scrap shield, right? You also get an item. Wait,
Oh yeah.
you scrap a rod, right? Yeah. I mean, it's all good.
That fight did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it could be close. It could be close.
And frontal
Because you also get
position.
anti-heal. Powder gives you anti-heal, gives
Oh
you a
yeah.
rod, gives you scrap shield, gives you ambusher. It's actually massive.
Okay. Back to this augment selection. Bulky Buddies is really hard with ambushers, right? Since you have so many frontline.
It's just, man, if it's Warwick's, doesn't this Band of Thieves represent more than just the TG? I feel like this Band of Thieves represents like 10
And gold, yeah.
So I feel like it just automatically, like, I think the Riot's already acknowledged that they think Band of Thieves is way too busted. But like they're just fine leaving it in its current state as being busted.
And particularly ambushers, like the glove value is just more crit.
Yeah. I hope you see the powder now. Okay, thank you.
Saw it one turn too late.
Oh, you're not scrapping.
Oh yeah.
Like a rod.
Did you just frontline the powder and scrap?
See what's happening in these fights? Your Trundle is having to go 1v3. Mm-hmm. Like you're not allowing your tank to both your itemized units are drain tanks with the way they're built, right?
Yeah.
And you're not leveraging that. You're letting your
it's like I'm listening to you after.
Because now you yeah, good job. This is a live what is it called? Backseating coaching session. Camille looks super fucked this game, like, but not that you really care to play on Camille anyway. Yeah, it looks like a game where you just go 8, you try to play around like Echo and Vi, stuff like that.
So I want like a Titans or
yeah, it's on a Smeech. Like, I think that looks really appealing to me.
Someone, the other ambusher guy got it.
Sword, probably Gunblade GA. Sunfire, not awful as well. Yeah, I don't mind this. Or Sunfire or Morello. I don't mind this as well.
Sunfire probably better because Morello, your only backline is powder, right?
Yeah, I think Sunfire is better. I like to get the Rumble in this line, so anti-heal becomes kind of and you already have it through Powder and Rumble, but at the same time, like you can't not have and you can't not make Sunfire here. So,
what's your thought on slamming on Camille just to like get more kills?
I like it. I think stacking items is always good.
Then now I don't get the Titans.
I'm fine with this. Like you may have needed it in that fight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down to level here just for literally anything. You have no backliner, but whatever. I would still level for Nunu. Wow, wait, what? Why aren't you? Wait, what? 1 gold. Come on, man.
That's true. If I did it earlier, I should do it now.
I think especially in this portal, you're in a 2 streak and in this portal. I'm a little
Oh
surprised.
yeah, okay. I think I scouted though, but
There's no way you know for sure that it's not a new. The guy has a Mord with a GA, and I would just be like, what? Like, what is the cost of one Mord?
no, I didn't even scout.
This guy has Silco Rageblade Mord. I mean, his board is trash. It is level 6, but like, I don't
But
know,
my
man.
board's pretty strong, right? Okay, but yeah, I agree. Good
I mean,
level.
a whole ass Nunu with 4 Bruiser is like, I don't know. It's not. It's far from nothing in my mind.
Yeah, I keep on forgetting I need to play towards streak as well. I think I remember that when I'm on like a when I'm on fire, it's very much in my face. But when I'm on like a 2 streak, I think I sometimes.
Echo. Oh my gosh, you're a dirty high roller. Why are we rolling here? On 7.
uh oh, I was trying to look for a speech, right? Because then I get 5 ambusher. And I'm on a 3 streak. It's Warwick.
I don't like this. I'd rather to sack one because a Smeech is such a temporary spike. Like, yeah, a Smeech makes you strong for 4-1, but you know what you're gonna fight on stage 4? It's a 2-star 4 cost.
Right.
And you have the potential to get your own 2-star 4 cost. You just hit an Echo, you're already strong. Like here you just make, now that you have an Echo, you just make Deathcap GS. Deathcap GS Hodge just sounds absolutely insane on this Echo. And then
And
and
just
then you
wait till
roll forward.
8. Go to 8.
Because now what happened was you just threw away all your potential to find a 2-star Echo.
Hmm.
Like okay, if we roll next turn, what are the odds that you find a 2-star Echo by 4-6? If you don't roll at all now, so you're rolling how much next turn? Let's say you lose this round, right? So it's plus 5 gold naturally, plus another 5. You're at 82 gold next turn, 44 to level, so like 40 gold to roll and 4-2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then let's say you don't roll to 0, and then you gradually roll. You in expectation you will find Echo 2 by 5-1, right?
Yeah.
Like at some point by 5-1 at the latest in expectation. Maybe later if you low roll, earlier if you high roll. But what happens now? After we roll, let's reassess what the odds are for you to find Echo 2. So you roll here for your Smeech for your very temporary spike. 2, 3.
I had 70 gold, so I rolled like.
You found the Smeech. Okay. Now stop.
I rolled
What
like
are the odds you
40.
find Echo 2? It's in my mind. It's like you lost the game. You can't find Echo anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So now, see, this is where I like keep on going back and forth on getting this trapped by this whole roll on streak thing. Because I think, and maybe I wasn't actually thinking about it, but whenever we talk about these ideas, I'm like, okay, gotta remember to do this, gotta remember to do that. But then there's like, I'm like, oh, I'm on a 3 streak. I should roll the streak. We've talked
I
about
think
this a bunch. And
it's very tempo dependent. Like
mhm.
on 3-5, rolling a level 7 makes sense because you will allow yourself to have tempo for 3 rounds, right? If you roll on 3-5, you're ahead of tempo against most players 3-5, 3-6, and 4-1, right?
Mhm.
If you roll on 7. But now if you roll on 7 and 4-1, how long is your spike gonna last? At most it's 1 turn because everyone else is rolling more gold than you at a higher level than you. Like basically every competent lobby, the entire lobby will roll in 4-2. All their gold. Almost all their gold. Level 8, right? So this attempt to like stay ahead doesn't even really last, if that makes sense. Like I think it only really is worth truly investing your gold if it is to save you a bunch of HP, which here it's not because you're already like pretty far ahead and it's for 1 turn. And 2, if it gets you ahead of tempo for a while, right? Which here it also won't. So while yes, like rolling on win streak is a consideration, I think you should be thinking about like how that lines up with like overall lobby tempo and when people are planning their spikes and how you want to like play around that accordingly.
Mhm. Okay. Which basically means, and I think I've probably fallen into this trap way too often on 4-1, you almost never roll to streak unless you're like very confident you can stay ahead of lobby tempo when if there are high rollers that hit their 4-2 2-star
On
forecasts.
7. I think there could probably be an exception if you were like if you had like 6 outs. If you're like, let's say you're on a 6 streak and you had like literally, I'll be surprised if the play was not just early level. At that point, like, why are we just
Just
early
go
level?
8.
Let's go 8 and roll. If you really want to like push your streak on a 100 streak, what you do is
Oh
you just go
yeah.
8.
Why
Like,
didn't it go
why?
8 here?
If you really wanted to roll here, let's say you really, really wanted to, you just go 8 and roll. Right? In fact, it may even be the correct play because we're contested echo, right? The reason why I was less inclined to do that is because I already found the echo here. But I mean, you could if you really wanted to go 8 and roll. Like
Right.
your odds are so bad for your whole board except Smeech.
I would have had what 30 goldish to roll.
Yeah, I mean, if your whole point is to win, leveling does more for you than rolling. Right?
And would give me like at least some small percent chance of finding a jinx too.
Jinx as well. Yeah, level 8 is what you want to be rolling on for this comp, unless you're super tunneled on Smeech, which is fine when you're uncontested. But when you're contested, you don't really roll in 7 that much.
Okay.
Your most important unit here is Echo. You also skipped a Vi there, which is insane. Vi so easily makes this board.
Okay.
Yeah, because you look for a 2-star. The way this game is going, you have to play around. You have to play wide, right? Because you're a contested enforcer. I'm pretty sure you lose this easily, right? Yeah.
Yeah, especially since I have so many items I really need to be playing by.
This game became so hard. No. Let's see here.
So Firelight out of these 3.
If we had gold, yeah, I think left looks best when you can play around Echo, but it's just hard to play around Echo now. But at the same time, you probably still take it, I assume. Oh,
Now Flurry.
I'm pretty sure is insane. Yeah.
Roll the dice also isn't bad, right? If I didn't have the other 2 better options. But I have a ton of items.
I don't like it as much because you already have so many items. Yeah, I like Flurry here for sure. This? Yeah, I guess this is okay. I kind of wanted the GS on the. Like this is fine. This is fine.
This guy.
Smeech 3. Oh gosh.
You scrap the bow on the outer here, or I was just thinking I'm one turn away.
With one remover, I wouldn't. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're leveling rolling this turn, I assume.
Yeah. Yeah, Titans.
The thing is, you're gonna be hard stuck Smeech 1 here, like the whole game basically.
Yeah.
Holy triple Zoe. Smeech. Oh, that's so big. Let's see, there's an Ambessa. I'm trying to see like what units you could have also picked up. There's an Ambessa, but you didn't see many other Vi's. You have Firelight and okay. I mean the finding the 2-star guide definitely helped here. Something on Echo? No.
Echo could give you 2/3 chance, right, of getting something good.
The issue is, I don't think you think. The issue is another crest doesn't even do anything for you.
Yeah, I'm already at 5 Ambusher.
No, can't afford to. No. Oh, this one is insane. But
which one did I miss?
The stars might have been. I'm not sure actually. I'm not sure about this one because I feel like you have so much multiplication on your like all your crit and because you have death cap, makes me really, really, really want amp on this unit.
Yeah.
I feel like the opportunity cost of not getting amp is so large, such that this, in theory, is not bad, but literally any amp would go so hard here. So I'm not down to take this. This one is you can't ever skip this. I don't think. I think it's unacceptable to skip this in almost any comp.
Really?
This
It's
is
that
basically
broken.
you get a free victor on your board.
Uh,
You
okay.
just put this on Loris or Scar. And you have 4 gold left. Yeah, you have to take this one.
Okay.
If you didn't know, now you know. But this is unskippable.
So dramatic entrance and center of the universe, unskippable.
Center of the universe here is specifically. I would have skipped it here, but I think 5 gold left, maybe not, but I think I would have because amp is so busted and there's so many amp options, right? So it's not even that hard to hit with 4 rolls left. But this one with 4 rolls left is super. And this one in almost any scenario, even without four gold left, even with a bunch of gold left, is close to unskippable. I'd have to have a really good reason to skip this. I think dramatic entrance.
Okay.
I think this is widely considered one of the best, if not like close to the best.
Okay. This is where I wish I had stats.
Nervous laughter.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
You roll 2 gold and hope I get something better.
It's probably there's so many amp options, but you probably just take this. You probably just take this. It's basically some form of amp. I mean, it's a multiplier. Actually, it's probably fine. I guess. How much AP is it giving us?
Does it give it on the base? Forget. All right. Well, it goes from 210. I think I might have checked it after.
210 to what does it go to?
Do I check it? Maybe I don't.
Just make sure to unlock if you're locking. If you proc the gold. Is that your chest?
I should have picked up the chest on. I could have used that to dupe it and make gold if I didn't get.
Yeah. Viper could make it over what? Over Garen.
Wow. Garen?
Over Garen, I think, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Garen is giving you what, like plus 100 H. Garen is basically 2 bruiser for your 2 guys, right? Watcher is like dead. And Vi would just hold your Smeech items instead of just have a dead Smeech on the board, no items.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, you have to click on Vi if you're playing Ambusher spot and playing towards level 8. You have to click on Vi. He just holds all the items too well. I mean, if you already have Smeech too, I can understand not, but
I do have the duplicator. So I do have a Smeech 2 now, but even the TG would be better, right? Like a TG on Smeech and then.
Here, I would prefer you to just give a healing item from the Camille onto the Smeech, and then this is probably
QSS Guard Breaker.
Yeah, I think you Guard Breaker the Echo because the Echo now gets some more AP, and you give him amp, which he's lacking. Yeah, Guard Breaker is one of his best items. He has a lot of units. Gives him AP, gives him crit, gives him amp, and especially here he gets even more AP. I think it gives like 20 AP, which is not leveraged that much by the other units.
Okay, makes sense.
And then you just like hodge the Smeech, right? Probably you could burn turnovers if you wanted to. Like Smeech is better than Camille, so you could 3 item the leave 2 items on the Camille, something like that. Could work. I don't mind this.
Yeah, I would have had a Vi too.
I feel like GS on this Echo could be you missed the Vi too. GS on this Echo would also be insane because he just doesn't have that much amp.
Mm-hmm. Rabadon's has a little amp, right?
What's up? Yeah, it's just like he has barely any. It'd be better than one of the Hodges, I think, because he already has so much crit from the flurry of blows.
Yeah.
I mean, it does make him a little more durable with the healing, I guess, and it gives him a faster first cast.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember what his AP was before I took the anomaly? I did hover it there.
It was
210? Oh, it
before.
was at 255. Oh, wait, but I need to check it after combat start with the Hodge, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think I checked 255 was before combat start.
Gotcha.
Yeah, now that you mention it, having a vibe with the would have been so much better.
Just the Garen is just not doing that much for a
Yeah.
Firelight. Now you probably drop the Garen for Zeri.
Speaking of,
I guess you just decide to level for it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this has to be
Garen.
has to be the Garen. I guess Sentinel does stuff for your whole board, whereas the Garen is the barely does anything.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could always bring back a Sentinel. Yeah. Just sad we lost the 2-star Loris, but
I think I just like go on autopilot, being like, "Oh, Garen's part of this comp," so I'm not really thinking critically about like he's not really doing much since he's a star.
Gotcha. Yeah, I feel like I am guilty of similar things as well. It's just being more active about that. I think it's important to think of that skill, like the whole, whether you call it skill or effort or whatever you want to call it, like the whole critically thinking about deviating from cookie cutter boards. And I think more tangibly, it's just critically thinking about what is the best, unit to put in here, best replacement, best, at this point. It's important to think of that as not like a tedious skill. That is literally TFT. Is that is the skill that you want to get good at. And who's convincing you that most is a session I did with Goobums, who I think is I mean, he's not playing as much of the set, maybe not even last set. It was still a really, really good player, better than me. Made worlds once or maybe even twice. And when I thought I was already pretty good, I think I got sessions from him and I was like kind of stuck like a 13, 1400, could never really go higher. I still get stuck at that range nowadays. He found so many of those mistakes in my gameplay where I will through mid game, early game. I think earlier in this game we were noticing you not holding pairs. I think a few sessions ago I noticed you weren't holding like Swain for a Force Sorcerer on 2-7. And so then you didn't play towards like a Sork mid game on stage 3. Like all these seemingly like maybe could be seemingly small optimizations. That is literally the game. And all these little optimizations will add up. I mean, yeah, there are all these big things as well, like line selection and whatnot. But I think it's so easy to not think that these are the little things that will really add up and be the real cause of big LP gains and losses over several games. Because in my mind, having reviewed many of your games now, I don't mean this to motivate you. I feel like there are a lot of these little things which I think even you'll admit like you're not like truly at 100% focus in a lot of these games.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the state you're in playing these games. I'm not at 100% focus, and I'm happy to admit I make many similar mistakes as well. But maybe not happy to admit, but I'm willing to admit that I make similar mistakes as well. But it's just yeah, I think players at our level, I'll lump us together here. There are a lot of rooms for improvement in these things. Not holding certain pairs, not noticing that Garen typically makes his board. The cookie cutter board typically has this unit, but it could very easily be that you drop this unit for another unit because you got a spat. Like all these things really add up, and these are the differences between the top. At least in my mind, these are some of the big differences between top players and players below those.
Mhm. Okay. All right. So to summarize, early game, I should have been holding the Vi pair. That was this game, right? I think so.
Yes.
Um, and just like thinking about playing strongest board instead of tunneling too much on like what line the units are going to lead down. Once I got the ambusher emblem, I should really have like I should be clicking on Vi, and sounds like even Mbessa. And I mean, I think just knowledge check wise from a anomaly standpoint, dramatic entrance is like basically auto click.
Yeah. There was the 4-1 as well. It was
Oh yeah, that one was huge. The 4-1 roll down. If I'm gonna roll down, should be going level 8 to roll down. Yeah. But I should identify that odds are I'm gonna not be able to preserve streak. Well, so I guess it would be either wait till 4-2 to roll down or go push level 8. I guess I could have preserved streak if I leveled on 4-1, and if I rolled to like basically 0 and hit like a Smeech.
It was only a 3 streak, I think. I don't know, like what are the odds that you really full streak the whole stage? Because I think the real value in streaks is when you start getting to like a 5 or a 6 streak, right? And in fact, I would say in Warwick's Hunger, streaks are less important because you already get gold anyway from the from the thing, the drops. And so the odds that we like push into a 6 streak here are so low. You basically have to have a better roll down than like 5 players, which is super unlikely, right? The odds are you roll here, you're rolling with how much gold? You're rolling with how much is the level? 48. You're rolling like 20 something, right? It's like not that much, right? What are the odds that your 28 gold rolls out on stage 4 allow you to beat 7 players and allow you, like your pool will expand to like 6 players here, allow you to have a better board than 6 other players in expectation who are rolling likely more than 20 gold. It's like it's almost 0. Maybe not almost 0, but like it's very low. It's very low. So you're not really able to push to a 6 streak here in expectation.
Yeah.
Which is why I would think just sack and roll. But I think it worked out in that we found the Echo 2 anyway, despite it being contested. You ended up having 50 gold. I forget how we had 50 gold to roll. I guess by 4-5ing it, you weren't that poor. But then I would have just sacked 1 and then leveled, rolled 4-2.
Oh wait, why is this? Yeah. And even after I rolled so aggressively on 4-1, I lost 3 rounds. So it's definitely a waste.
Because there's such few things to hit, right? Like you're only going for Smeech. Like what? Like yeah, you could find Echo. You already found 1 Echo, so I feel like you already had, like, yeah. It's just so hard to really improve your board on level 7 there. Like you have to find what Jinx, triple Smeech shop. Like 1 Smeech is the only thing we're rolling for there. I feel like you really want to roll when you have many things to hit. And in that scenario, like an expectation, there's just such few things. Obviously, you could improve by upgrading your other units, but you weren't even paired in any of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's everything I can think of. Anything else jump out to you about this game?
No, I think we got to cover a lot. In both the games, yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Appreciate the help as always, and good luck in this weekend.